Hey guys, it's Day coming to you with another video, and today I'm so excited because if you are a part of social media, if you are on Facebook, if you are on Twitter, if you are on Instagram, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Wigs. Wigs are becoming a staple piece in fashion. Not just shoes anymore, not just jewelry for accessories. The wig can be a big part of what you have on as well, ladies. So to learn how to slay with making wigs, just keep on watching. Jumping right in with your mannequin head, T-pins, and extra large curved sewing needles like the ones I'm showing you guys here. I also like to use mesh dome caps. I prefer these ones just because they are super breathable and they fit extra snug once your wig is made. Go ahead and take that mesh dome cap and line the lines up of the cap with the lines on the mannequin, and this just ensures so that I get an even wig. Then for the frontal, lay it down, and to get the center of the frontal, I like to pinch the sides just to find the center, and I'll pull it forward in front of the mesh dome cap at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches in front, just to ensure that you have space in your wig if needed. Then you take the sides of your frontal and pin them down extra snug, and that just ensures so that you don't have any lumps or bumps in your frontal while trying to sew it down. As you can see, I'm pulling it extra tight just to make sure that it lays flat. And that ensures for a natural looking wig once your wig is made. On to your needle and thread. Go ahead and thread the needle, and I always like to make sure that the thread is at least arm's length, maybe a little bit longer. Tie the knot and you are ready for sewing. Now go ahead and take the needle through the mesh dome cap and the back of the center of the frontal, and I'll go ahead and put that through the thread, and this just makes a knot and ensures so that your thread isn't going anywhere. That's just added security for me. And as far as sewing, I do use the loop and pull method. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that. And I'm actually just gonna go all the way down the side. I like to start from the middle of the frontal and sew down one side, and then go from the middle of the frontal and sew down the other side. It's just my personal preference. When I first started, I did try to make my first wig doing the one side to the other side, just sew it that way. And it was nothing wrong with that, but I did create lumps in my frontal that way. And so I just learned that with this method, I don't encounter those problems. And this is where your sewing skills kicks in, ladies. Just go ahead and keep on sewing. I know it will feel like forever, but your end result will make you very happy. Don't worry about me putting my fingers in front of the needle. I promise you I'm not poking myself. It just, I guess, is a guide for me of where I'm trying to put the needle through to. So that's just what you see me doing here. And you don't have to be skilled with sewing to know how to do this. I have never sewn a day in my life before I started making wigs or even trying to construct a wig. So as you can see, my sewing skills are not the best, but I make do. Now, congratulations, you have made it to the end of one side of your frontal. Go ahead and cut your thread and tie a knot in it at least 2 to 3 times just to make sure that it's secure. And just to show you the thread work, just look at how nice and neat and flat the side of your frontal is. Now, there's no need for me to go ahead and explain the left side. You're going to do the same thing you did to the right by starting in the middle of the frontal, taking your needle through the dome cap as well as the back of your frontal and sewing all the way down and then tying a nice secure knot. Please do not judge me on my sewing techniques. I am not the best sewer. I'm still getting used to having the needle and the thread in my hand and the underhand method. So yeah, I still get the job done. Now we are done sewing down the frontal. Thank goodness. The hard part is over. And now we are on to bundles. Some people prefer to double their tracks while they're sewing. I haven't gotten comfortable with that yet. So as you can see here, I am single tracking my wig. I'm getting the track ready for placement. So I'm taking my T-pins and just placing the track exactly where I want it to be sewn. And you guys already know how to thread the needle. And I'm just taking the needle through the mesh dome cap, not the rubber band. Now there is a band at the bottom of that mesh dome cap. Make sure you're not sewing through that because your wig is not going to have any stretch if you do that. As far as sewing, go ahead and do the loop and pull method that I showed you all the way to the end of your track. And here we are towards the end of the track. You're just going to cut the thread and tie a knot. Also towards the end of sewing your track, I stopped doing the loop method with the sewing and just sew in and out, just so that when I cut the thread and tie the knot is able to be secure. Now I do use the fold over method with my tracks. I'll do that all the way up until about the middle of my wig, and then towards the top we'll start cutting the tracks just to make sure that your wig is nice and flat and it looks really natural once you've put it on. So go ahead and fold over that track, and again we're sewing with the loop and pull method here, nothing new. So this is basic sewing, so you can just continue to watch me sew the rest of the tracks until we get to the middle of the wig. Alright, so we finished the first bundle and we're on to the second. This is where we're going to start cutting our tracks. I am going, as you can see, from side to side now instead of sewing the tracks all the way across. So you can see me just starting off the knot here by just sewing the beginning of that track to the side of the one already sewn down. Taking my T-pins just to make sure that my track placement is correct and where I want it to be. And then you just see me sewing using the loop and pull method. Sometimes throughout this video, you'll see me loop a couple of times before I pull the thread through. And that is just to, I guess, give me a tight knot. So we are finally almost done. As you can see here, everything is nice and flat. Those cut tracks definitely make a difference towards the top of your wig. So I would definitely recommend cutting the tracks towards the top. And down to our last track. I like to take my last track and I sew it as close and just connect it to the end of the frontal. And this is just so that it lays down nice and tight against the frontal, so that once you put that little layer of hair over to cover the track, it's just nice and flat. Once that last track is sewed down, go ahead and cut and tie your thread, and you might as well go ahead and clap for yourself, sweetie, because you are all done. Look how nice and flat that looks. I forgot to record me cutting the excess cap off up under the frontal, so don't forget to cut that off.